Greetings, everyone. I'm Jim Finley. I'm one of the core teachers of the Living School with Cynthia Bourgeot, under the spiritual leadership of Father Richard Rohr. And I was pleased to accept the invitation to say a few words about his forthcoming book on Christ. And as he says in the beginning of the book, it's a kind of book that you kind of have to sit with, that it's a kind of a Lectio Divina, or a kind of a meditative deepening of a certain depth of understanding, experiential understanding of Christ in our life. And I'd like to share with you some initial impressions I had of the book that are consistent with the kind of poetic quality of the whole book itself. And the first insight is that, and I think these are things that are so central to the tradition, but we rarely think about them, is that our Christian faith does not teach us that God became incarnate in someone named Jesus who lived 2,000 years ago. Rather, our faith teaches that in the person of Jesus who lived 2,000 years ago, it is revealed that God has become incarnate as us. That God's life and our life are one life. And this one life is Christ's life. It's a unitive life in which in some essential sense we and God are not dualistically other than each other. What's so key about this understanding of this unitive nature of God's life to the generosity of God being given to us as our own life, is that this oneness with God in life itself is not something that's been given to us out of the ability to live up to some ideal that we aspire to, some set of moral principles or some set of a standard, like the law that we're trying to measure up to. To the contrary, is that in Jesus of Nazareth is revealed that God has freely chosen to become identified with us as unexplainably precious in the midst of our fragility itself. That in some sense, the recognition of our fragility, the recognition of our weakness, the recognition of the unresolved matters of our mind and heart, is the condition in which we realize that infinite love of God is infinitely identified with us as unexplainably precious in the midst of those very issues, the very midst of those unfinished things, regardless of what they might be, regardless of what they might be. And so another kind of key insight that runs to the heart of this book, to the heart of our faith, really, is that Jesus says, "Come follow me." And we discover where he's leading us is the cross. And what is the cross in the context of our faith, or the context of this book? The context of the cross is the mysterious process of dying to our dreaded and cherished illusions that anything less or other than an infinite union with infinite love has the authority to name who we are. That is to say, the mystery of the cross is dying to the idolatry of shame, is having authority to name who we are. And it's also simultaneously dying to the authority of virtue or attainment. Because this love is so unexplainably given to us by this infinite love, is a love that we are powerless to diminish, and we are powerless to increase it. It is boundaryless in all directions, through and through and through and through. And so this process then of this sweet death, of dying to everything less than love, is then the experience of experiential salvation. It's the gift of tears. And what's amazing, I think, when we really look at it, is how amazingly resistant we are to letting this in. It's like we're afraid to lose the control that we think that we have over the life that we think that we're living, even though the control is holding on to our insistence of our identity that's maintaining itself in shame, maintaining itself in the need to attain something. Am I lovable yet? Am I lovable yet? Am I lovable yet? And so this relinquishment of attainment, this relinquishment of everything other than love is Christ consciousness in the world. And just as this is incarnate in Jesus, this universal Christ principle is incarnate in Jesus, it needs to be incarnate in you, and it needs to be incarnate in me. Otherwise, this is just words. This is just words. And I'd like to end with one little note I thought was quite touching, but it's key to all of this, I think. Richard at the beginning has a little dedication, and his dedication is to his dog Venus. I knew Venus. When we come here, Venus was always following Richard around. And here's Richard's dedication. I dedicate this book to my beloved 15-year-old black lab, Venus, whom I had to release to God while writing this book, without any apologies, any excuses, any concerns about lightweight theology, or for appearing to be inappropriate. I can honestly say that Venus was Christ to me. And therefore, what I see in this, and I think we can all look at this, really, is what are the little moments in our life, and who are the people in our life, and what are the little moments in our interactions with those people, which are so utterly simple, like disarmingly simple. If we weren't careful, we might never think about them. And it's in some strange way, the inscape or the intimate interiority of those simple things is the infinite mystery of Christ pouring itself out as the mystery of our life that is boundaryless in all directions. And I think, therefore, this lifelong process of learning to stabilize ourselves in this Christ consciousness, we then realize it's asking something out of us. It's asking us to become someone in whose presence other people are better able to get some glimmer of this in their life, so they can internalize it and then in turn pass it on to other people, which is our faith. And so I hope you enjoy and really benefit from reading this book as much as I did. I think Richard's great gift is saying very profound things in a very simple, accessible way that in no way waters down the depth of what he's saying. And this is kind of, I think, Richard at the height of his powers, really. Thank you. So thank you.